oh snap, I've been going my whole life feeling guilty, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Shit.
It's okay.
Is this a therapy session?
Unless you've lied to me about the history. Secret romance still going on. And it was all exposed, and that's why she really was there.
I'm not even going to joke about that. Welcome back to Where's My Coffee podcast. I am Perris.
I'm Georgia, and this is episode 19.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, we have had a busy weekend.
Yes.
So, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm a published book author now.
Published book author. Officially.
Yeah, officially. Okay, I have some imposter syndrome.
Absolutely. Totally understand. Talk to me.
Because one, it's not like I think everyone is under the impression who's seen this across social media that I wrote my own book.
Oh, like the whole book is you.
The whole book is me. And I haven't told anyone or
it's
corrected
just a
anybody.
Chapter.
It's just a chapter.
But that's okay because at the end of the day, you're still a published author. Your book has still been created. It's been published. It can be sold. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are other people's stories in it.
Shout out to all the other authors.
But that doesn't lessen the fact that you're a published author. I mean, you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
Don't diminish your accomplishment.
I just get weird sometimes about certain things. Like when I first started the podcast years ago, or a couple years ago, not years ago, my solo podcast. I felt even weird calling it a podcast because
I'm just doing this thing.
Yeah, I respected other people who did it before me. I had a couple of friends who made podcasts before me. And I was asking them for advice, and I'm like, maybe I'll call it a mobcast. I was trying to find these other alternative names than podcasts because I felt like this is...
You're not worthy of it.
Yeah, it's not my territory. You know what I mean? And they were like, dude, you're thinking about it way too much.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong. People who want to purchase it, they may have an interest in only reading your chapter, and that is totally fine. But chances are they will get hooked on the fact that hey, these are some really deep stories and want to read them anyway.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
And also, it's just supporting.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, them purchasing a book is a support to you and your endeavors.
That's true. Okay.
So,
okay, you want to talk about the event itself, or should we talk about
the weekend in general? We could just talk about how we went from beginning to end, what we went through.
Can we talk about my process within all this?
Oh, absolutely. We'll get to that.
Yeah, okay.
No. We'll get to that. Yeah. I kind of just wanted to briefly touch on our first experience driving our car into the airport.
Okay.
So I know it's so little, but I just,
Yeah.
It was a good thing for us. So normally we take Ubers and Lyfts to the airport because we're only 20 minutes away.
20 minutes?
25 minutes away from the airport. So it's not that big of a deal. However, the timing of our flights, we were departing at 4:30 in the morning was our boarding time.
4:30 boarding time.
And then on the way home, we were going to be landing at 1:30, 2 a.m. So we were like, ugh, that's the worst times to get Uber and Lyfts. So we were like, you know what? Let's park at the airport, bing, bap, boom. See how it goes.
Yeah.
And it turns out basically the same price anyway. So, it was basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Pull up 2:30 in the morning, park the car, go straight into the airport. When I tell you how luxurious that felt for such a minimal cost, I highly recommend. I mean, we were only going for 4 days, so it wasn't that expensive. So maybe if you're doing a couple week trip, maybe not.
True.
But in our circumstance, 4 days,
Yeah.
same price as an Uber there and back. And on the way back, it meant that we were able to literally get in the car at 2 a.m. in the morning when the last thing we want to do is talk to a stranger. And it was just, I had so much joy. The only thing we didn't really think through is we made our coffees in the morning and we didn't finish them.
Going
to the airport.
Yeah, going to the airport.
We made our coffees in the morning and didn't finish them. And they were reusable thermos. And we were just
We were like, where do we dump this? We were trying to find places to dump it, and there's literally
like
nowhere
no
to
drain, nothing. I just didn't want to put on the ground. I was like, you know what? If we just seal these, keep them in the car for 4 days, we won't open them until we get back home, and it is what it is.
But coffee, excuse me, coffee kind of sustains pretty well.
I mean, yeah, but I had milk in mine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the milk didn't really.
Oh, it didn't smell when you opened it?
No, when I opened it, it didn't smell at all.
I definitely wouldn't be tasting it.
Of course not tasting it, yeah, but I thought we were going to smell some funk.
Yeah, but anyway, it was seamless. It was great. We arrived, we got a rental, we drove straight to your dad's barbershop. Yeah. Literally the moment we touched down, he got his services.
We went to the bagel shop, and I called my dad, and I said, hey, did you eat this morning? Do you want anything before we, meet you? And he's like, no, let me get whatever. Now I'm saying whatever because I still don't remember what he said on the phone.
What did you think you heard?
I thought he said, get me a smoked salmon, cinnamon raisin bagel. Which
is the most bizarre combination I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I didn't think anything of it until I said it out loud.
And even the cash register person was just like, cinnamon raisin? Because you just said raisin.
And I was like,
and he's like, we only have cinnamon raisin. And I was like, cinnamon raisin and smoked salmon.
So I was like, how is that taste? He was like, I mean, I personally wouldn't combine those two flavors.
Yeah.
And I knew right then and there, I was like, yeah, that's probably not what my dad said. Do you remember what he said? Even when we got to the barbershop, what did he?
No, I think he said that's what he normally gets.
The raisin bagel with salmon on it?
Uh-huh. We need to fact check that. But
yeah, might need to fact check.
Either way, he was just like, oh, not a cinnamon bagel? Because we ended up getting a plain bagel.
Oh, that's what it was. He wanted just a cinnamon raisin bagel with just nothing on it. With no salmon.
Oh, you didn't.
I don't know why I thought he said salmon. Yeah.
It was early. We had been up since
cinnamon raisin.
Salmon.
So that's what. Yeah, it was an early morning.
It was a hot mess, and he saw the bagel, and he was like, he still ate it, but I felt bad.
But no, we were in the barbershop. We walked in the barbershop, and
mind you, he had just gotten his hair cut like a day and a half ago.
You're gonna make me say something that I don't necessarily want to say.
What is it?
Yes, I got my hair cut twice.
In the span of 1 week.
We'll just say, hey, hey.
But this one, I am. I was still like doing some work things because it was still a Friday. I was on the computer, just hanging out, whatever, while I was getting this done. This one's getting a full-on facial, a whole luxury treatment, and I'm just here working away, and I'm just like.
My dad does, he's a hairstylist. He's not just a barber, so there's all facets of hair that he does. And then now he does a little bit of, is it cosmetic?
Cosmetology.
Treatment? Cosmetology treatments.
Yeah. And, he had a steamer on his face, the whole shebang.
Okay. The first time he did it.
With the steamer?
Was last year. And he put the hot towel on my face. And I was like, yo, this is way too hot. He was like, bruh, like, I can't. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, you just gonna have to buck up. And like, so he wraps the towel. And then I get claustrophobic.
Oh, and only your nose is exposed.
So only my nose exposed. So I'm like kind of low key panicking because I'm like, yo, I can't breathe. Am I gonna be able to breathe? But it was it's actually a great experience though.
Do you know there are face masks that like go completely? They turn into like this jelly rubber consistency, and they put it completely over your face, and I think they just leave like a tiny little slit for your mouth.
No, I couldn't do that.
But it's like a shell. It's creepy.
Yeah, no. He did put this face mask on me that like
a clay mask.
I don't think and it hardens up like it was really weird. Really weird.
Have you ever had anything like that before?
No.
Oh, okay.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I've like bought an at-home one before.
And it hardened up like that? Oh, okay.
And if you like scrunch your face, it like crunches.
No, like I couldn't.
Oh, you didn't move it all.
I tried to, but it was.
I should have taken some more photos and videos of you.
Could have.
Yeah. Lost opportunity.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, that was how we started the weekend off. The purpose of the trip, obviously, was for the book launch. But something that your family loves to do is whenever we come down for one thing, there's always something else bundled together.
Yeah.
And it just happens that it was your grandma's birthday the following week. So we were like, well, not us. Your mum was like, let's also do a celebratory.
Yeah, it's
lunch.
always a way to take advantage of me being
absolutely.
up there since I don't live.
So it's always a very, very busy weekend for us.
Eventful.
So much so that like takes a little bit for us to get back into our sleeping habit because we're staying up late.
Yeah, that's true.
Going to bed late.
Yeah.
All the things. So it's always very eventful. But we started with lunch at what would you say it is? What sort of restaurant was that? Was it Italian?
No, the day before we went back to my hometown, and we kind of spent. Oh, we went to go see Toby.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah, so we surprised Toby.
Oh,
well, no,
yes,
we didn't
yes.
surprise.
No, we told.
We told him we were coming. So he's a real estate agent in Delaware, and
he's got a home base at a new construction community.
Yeah, which is in my hometown. So I told him the next time we're up there, we got to come visit him at his job, his workplace.
So we had a cute little tour of the unit.
We get there.
No, what did we found?
Mind you, it's kind of cold. Like,
well, we had just come back from 75-degree weather in Atlanta,
and we were packing as if like.
No, you told me it was going to be warm.
I thought it was.
I didn't bring a full coat. Nothing. It was cold.
It said it was going to be like
all I brought was my hoodie.
65 degrees, and growing up, 65 degrees was pretty warm. But these winds and things like that is making it seem, So yeah, we get to his model home or his office.
Yeah, which is the model home.
Yeah, and I literally texted him like 5 minutes before, and I was like, "Hey, we're about to arrive." Then we get there, he's nowhere to be found.
And he has his location on because he shared it, so we know where his phone is, so we know what building he's in, and we're like,
"Bruh,
hello,
what are you doing?" And then I'm like, "All right, it says he's in the house." And I was like, dude, we're just gonna go sit in the car, and then we see him walking up, and he had
he was working,
yeah, working, you know what I mean. But yeah, that was really cool. He gave us a tour of his model home.
It was a great unit.
Yeah, it was. Though they both meaning Toby and Georgia, couldn't tell me how much square feet the home was.
No, we knew how many square feet it was. I can't remember what he said. You just wanted to know what that first floor was.
I wanted to know the square footage of the entire.
Oh, he told you. I think he said it was like 1,800 square feet total.
Interesting.
Or 1,900 square feet total.
There was something I asked when he said he didn't know.
Yeah, we were talking about the floor we were on.
He didn't know. How do you not know that?
Well,
Toby, how do you not know that?
It's not evenly split.
Oh, true.
Do you know what I mean?
I did. I was like, well, why don't you just divide the number by
3? Because there's 3 levels. Yeah, no, it doesn't make
but it was fun. It was really fun. When we get around each other, we're just goofy as heck.
Yeah, no, they're something else.
Yeah, and then we left there and we went down the street to see my grandmother.
She was looking fabulous.
Facts,
with
as
her
always.
Little, not bandana. No, I guess it was a bandana.
Yeah, she had a bandana and her hair was like styled a different way. Yeah,
it was so cute. It was so cute.
Oh yeah, it was just it was just bringing back a lot of memories because we went through the back roads to get there.
Is that the time we went through those massive houses on the end?
Yeah.
I think I've been to the hometown is Delaware.
Hometown, but my original hometown.
Isn't Delaware the state though?
Delaware State, and then Kennett Square is in Pennsylvania. It's a small town in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so we were technically in Pennsylvania, but I've been to Delaware I would say like 7 times by this point. A handful.
7 times.
10 times.
We'll just go by the year.
Yeah, either way, I've been there a good handful of times, but somehow I've never driven on that road.
No.
Which we've been to your mum's before.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I've never seen those massive houses.
Yeah, we always went the front way.
Yeah.
The front way from Newark.
Yeah, but we went a different way.
Yeah.
They were stunning. And naturally, me being a real estate agent, I pull up my app looking at how much the homes are. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this would be so much more expensive in Atlanta. Like, could you imagine? It's like acres and acres of land.
How many? Yeah. So what was the price point of one of them?
Don't get me wrong. They were expensive. They were like 1.2 to like 1.
Those giant houses?
Yeah, I saw it to 1.8. But the problem is, not the problem. They were on acres.
On acres of land. Yeah. Doesn't that add to the...
It does. So in Atlanta, for something with that many acres and that type of house and how big it is, obviously it depends where you are, but in relation to comparing like similar areas, that sort of home in Atlanta would be like 2 million plus.
Oh, those big, probably like 4.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I tried to make it the most comparable.
Yeah. So, long story short, it's cheaper to live in Delaware than
Absolutely.
it is, because there's no sales tax as well in Delaware.
Yeah, and just the cost of living is far less.
Yeah. And then after that, after we left my mom, mind you, mom is with us this whole time too. Mm-hmm. Mom is with us this whole time.
Oh, she reminded us of a great story. I just slurred my words so much then.
Oh, wow.
So, do you want me to say this or is it too embarrassing?
No. Well, what story is it?
Oh, don't worry. I'll say it anyway. Ew. So, his mom reminded us of this one time. It was the first time we were ever trying to do a car rental.
Oh, gosh.
And we were in Pittsburgh at that time. So we were still in college and we were driving from Pittsburgh to Delaware for a trip.
For Christmas.
And we didn't have a car at that point. And so we didn't really know like what you needed. We didn't have a credit card. So it was a whole ordeal. But the first thing that they asked for, because Perris was the only one with a license, I didn't have a driver's license at the time.
And I was the oldest one there?
Well, it's just us two. So I just didn't have a driver's license.
Yeah, true.
So I couldn't even drive. So the guy at the front of Enterprise, he goes, license and insurance. Mm-hmm. Perris pulls out his insurance card. Not for a vehicle because we don't own a vehicle. He pulls out his health insurance card. And the way that the clerk at the front desk...
I pulled out my what?
Health care insurance card. What do you call it? I'm saying too many words.
I pulled out my...
Health insurance card. There we go.
Card.
Why am I adding care? Oh my God. So he pulls that card out and the clerk at the front is just like, this is your health insurance.
Wait, is this health insurance?
It was the funniest thing. And he was like, that's what we have. And he goes, no, I need some car insurance.
Yeah.
I guess because we were paying with debit. I don't forget why we had to show the insurance card. So funny. Anyway, so we walk away because we're like, oh my gosh, we can't get this rental. And we have literally just planned a trip to drive down to Delaware. Fair. So he calls his mom up. He's like, Mom, I just gave him my health insurance card instead of car insurance. And honestly, like the memory of that.
Yeah.
Being brought up again just killed me.
They talk about this story every time they get together,
so
and it's just
funny.
like, all right, guys, it's getting old. Because, like, again,
like it will never get old.
We didn't know at the time. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I know, but
we
like
were
common
fresh out of
knowledge.
college.
Common knowledge, though.
Common knowledge.
We're renting a car. They don't care about your health insurance.
I don't know that. Be more specific. Just say,
that's
hey,
the thing. It's common knowledge to say, hey, insurance card, that it's for the cars.
Okay, guys, give me some grace. This was the first time we've ever stepped in
a rental
inside a car rental place. None of us owned a car at the time, so when they say, "Hey, can we see your insurance?" I'm just so used to giving my health insurance, so it was natural instinct to give them my Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. So nowadays they say car insurance, like I mean, it's just a thing. You know
they
what
don't.
I mean? You know?
No, they really.
Who cares around car insurance? Just
you would if you were going to rent a car.
My mom will always bring it up
because it's a highlight of a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did that. We went to your hometown, and we finally made it to your place. And I was telling Perris, I was like, I just want to remind you that we've been up since like maybe 1:30 in the morning and we got about 1 hour's sleep. I'm gonna need some sort of nap or something because what did we have at 6:00?
We went to Dad's and Dina's place.
We did pizza night at his dad's. So I was like, if I'm gonna continue and rally on, like I need a nap. And Perris is like, there's no time for a nap.
Definitely.
And I was like, I need something. So we got home and I think I got like a quick 15 power hour. He's like, we got to go. I was like, can I just have 15 minutes?
15 more minutes, please.
Took a quick nap.
Yeah.
And then we headed over for pizza.
Yeah. So what kind of pizza did we have? We had like that.
How about you talk about the chaos with us trying to order pizza?
Okay. So mind you, I don't think we didn't really eat anything that entire day, but that bagel that either that morning. So we're all at my dad's place, and it's my brother, it's his wife, his kids, it's me, Georgia, it's my sister, it's her boyfriend, it's my dad, it's Dina, it's
and her kids.
You know what I mean?
It was a packed house.
All of us are kind of like hungry, like
Absolutely.
we're really hungry, and the only thing we established was what alcohol we were drinking. So while we're trying to order pizza and figure out what kind of pizza we're just kind of sipping, you know what I mean? And we're like, yo, this isn't good. Like, we need to figure out. So we get on the pizza app.
And it's a wood fire pizza. So they're like nice, I would say like they're pretty gourmet.
No,
flavors.
it was, yeah.
It's not just your like corner pizza place where it's just got a cheese pizza,
it's not
pepperoni
like Papa John's
pizza.
or,
It was a nice pizza place.
Yeah, like a brick oven.
Where that's what they call it. Brick oven, where they have like some fun combinations of flavors.
Sure.
He got so mad at me.
I didn't get mad. I was getting just impatient because I think Georgia forgot that my family sometimes are just very simple. We don't really care for all the extravagant things. So Georgia's like flipping through and she's like, oh, so they got this type of pizza with meat on it. What kind do we want? There's cheese, there's pepperoni.
There was like this cauliflower one. There was a ricotta one. There was a burrata. Like they had the yummiest flavors. They had like an eggplant one.
Hey, just give me 1 second, okay? So my sister's like, hey, my boyfriend can't have pork. Like, he doesn't eat pork, you know?
Which
shout out to Kai.
I respect.
Yeah, and shout out to my sister Pepsi. So we're like, cool. All right, no pork. So that means no pepperoni, no, I think they said the meatballs.
Yeah, because
I didn't know meatballs had pork
typically
in it.
Italian sausages are a combination of pork and beef.
Well, that's dope. That's why they're probably so good. So we established, all right, let's get cheese pizza. At least 2 of them were cheese. And then Georgia's scrolling down. Oh, how about we get the ricotta
meatball?
And I'm like, babe, they
really just wanted to get 3 cheese pizzas.
We were. I was like, can we just get 3 cheese? Get the chicken which was so good.
Chicken wings.
And they were smoked chicken wings.
And we got some salads too.
I'm like, babe, just order the 3 pizzas. We're cool with that. But she's still calling out, or how about this? And I'm like, girl, we are good. We just need food. It doesn't need to be the most exotic pizza topping in the world. But she just wouldn't let up until I was just like,
no, it was because Dina was just like, I'll eat it with you if you get that one. I said, perfect, I'm getting it.
That's what you were waiting on?
I wanted someone else to acknowledge that they'll eat some.
Oh my God.
And you know what's crazy? Everyone liked that one the best.
Yeah, it was a hit.
And I literally was like, I told you so.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Because the meatballs and the ricotta, oh my God, it was delicious.
Yeah. See, me and her, if we're ordering pizza for ourselves, we go the exotic. Like, we love the, you know.
But you acting brand new, acting as if you didn't want to try some fun flavors.
It's not like that. I'm just saying, you know.
Leaving me in the dark.
But my fam, they cool. Sometimes we just, you know what I'm saying? You know. We bougie together.
But like,
yeah,
your dad chose that pizza place.
Yeah, true.
And it was a good one.
Yeah, no, it was
so
great.
Let's take advantage of like what they have to offer.
Fair enough.
You don't go to like a wood fire pizza and then get just cheese.
Like
as every single flavor. Like get one cheese, get the one we got, and then get like another one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
You're hungry now because you're talking about it.
Well, I already know when I'm having some Italian food tonight. But hold on.
Lasagna.
You know what kind of messed the game up?
What?
In that moment when Pepsi was like, no pork. Because then that limited.
Well, they didn't even have a pepperoni pizza.
Really?
Yeah, the only thing that was there was the meatballs.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, they did have like a. They had like a.
It was like a hand.
No, it was. But it wasn't. I don't think it was pork. It was like, you know, that thinly sliced meat. What do they call it?
Salami?
No.
Oh, not salami.
It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think
like
that's
ground
pork.
beef or something like
that.
Yeah. But yeah, overall it was good. The chicken was great.
It was delicious.
Yeah,
Found
it was
a really
fun
good
night.
wine, finally.
Yeah.
Takes me a little bit to, I don't really know wine very well, and normally I go for a white. And the two like flavors that I really don't like in wines is grapefruit and like citrusy. And so I finally found a wine that really ticked all the boxes.
It was good. I'm a more red type of guy. But you said it was what?
I think it was like Orchard Lane or Orchard something.
It was in like a different type of bottle than normal.
Oh, that was a different one again. That one was
98 points.
It had like 98 points, and it was so easy to drink. I forget what that's called, but it had a very unique bottle that I'd remember it next time I saw it.
So that was nice. And then the next day was
book launch day. No, it wasn't. One more day.
No, yeah, it was.
Next day was birthday celebration.
Yeah, and the meet and greet where all the authors, you know,
let's talk about the meet and greet. So what that was like.
Oh, that was awesome.
So I guess just as a little backstory.
Yeah.
Each author, they've been meeting for the past year, really.
Yeah.
The past year on Zoom. Just, you know, catching up, talking about it, the chapter,
the writing
collaborating,
process,
you know, all the things. But some of them haven't actually met in person yet. So the day before the book launch, would you say it's a company? The network, Hold the Line, who hosted the book?
My mom's
publishing company, essentially.
You could say, platform,
Platform, that's a good one. Their platform, Hold the Line, got all these men together to write their chapters. And then they were like, you know, let's meet before the actual book launch and connect.
Yeah. So here's a dope thing, just to add to what you're saying, babe. My mom created a platform, very, very, you know, powerful one for women to tell their story, to be, you know, expressive. And so she created these books for authors to write their stories. And each chapter is dedicated to an author, you know what I mean? Or designated for an author to write. And they did 4 volumes, and we were the 5th.
I think it's 5 and you were the 6th.
It's a lot.
There's been a lot of series.
There's been a lot of series, which
so
is
a lot of stories
so dope.
To be told.
And then the recent one was for the men. So she did queen authors and then essentially king authors. And you know, when I heard that my mom was doing that, you know, creating a space for the men to finally write, I was hoping like she would ask me, you know, directly.
You're like, I'm your son.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Tell me when to do it.
And honestly, not that, you know, I would have said yes. It's just that entitlement, being her oldest son, like, you know, hey, I should be asked to be a part of this. You know what I mean? And I always wondered, why is she telling me? But in fact, she was giving me the space to arrive at the point where I realized I want to do this.
Right. Because when it comes to the purpose of the chapter, it's to open up and like really reveal like what's going on and like what you've been through. Like obviously everyone's taken the chapter in a different approach, but it's like, it's not a matter of like, hey, write a chapter. It's, hey, I want to share my story.
Yeah.
Can I be in this book?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I mean, it makes sense that she didn't ask you.
Yeah, no.
Now looking back, reflecting.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that like I arrived at the point, but and I'm not saying like she didn't desire me to be a part of it.
No,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely not.
But I'm glad I did. Both me and my brother.
Yeah,
were a part
I think that
of
was really cool that you guys were in the same book.
It was so great. And to the meet and greet, you know. Just it's just something powerful, something life-changing when a group of men can trust each other enough to be vulnerable,
express,
because it
support.
does happen a lot behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Like, men, we have our village, our villages, we have our army, we have our brotherhoods, you know what I mean? And whatever that may look like, but when it's put out to the forefront, you just realize that there are a lot of men
willing
in all
for
different
support.
this is
I said this to your mom. I think it was really cool having so many different generations of men amongst the chapters, because I think it brings such a different different tones, different dynamic, different like, I guess, walks of life of like where they are in life. And you know, some people who are younger, they've gone through a lot already, so they have like a story to tell, but it was just like their story now or previous, and it just like, I don't know, it was a good range of ages.
Yeah, it was. Oh man.
But yeah, talk about the circle, like how that process was.
All right.
Maybe a little too much. I don't know if
well,
you
no,
want to
it's
get
not.
into
It's
it.
not too much because I mean, it was impactful.
Yeah.
It was, again, life changing. Is momentous a word?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was.
It was a momentous moment.
Yeah, it was. I cried.
Yeah.
A couple of us were crying. And that's the beautiful part of it. Like, I'm already one to, wear my heart on my sleeve. I identify what I'm feeling. I'm not afraid to cry in front of people. Like, you know what I mean? So it was just great to even feel comfortable in that space to do that. Because again, like I said, most of us, some of us knew each other.
Though. Yeah.
But as a whole, we didn't know each other. You know?
You've known each other from a screen most of the time.
But the powerful thing is, it's that energy. It's really that energy.
It was a what do they call it? It was like not an inviting. What do they say? When
what?
When you enter into a space and you just know that you're safe in the space to just like talk.
I know what you're saying. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
And
just like instant comfort to just like be you and speak your thoughts.
Yeah. My brother was the youngest. And even with saying that, my brother is younger than I am. 5 years. I have 5 years on him. But when I tell you that he's experienced more life than I have, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't word it as more life.
More life. So what I mean by that is he's experienced so much more than I have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's younger. He's been through more than I have.
Yeah, he's experienced a lot of major life situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. For such a young age.
But hear what I'm saying, like, and I'm speaking from quote unquote privilege, and that's not a slight, and that's not to big me up or anything. But when we're in that circle, I'm listening, and I'm just like, my brother may be the youngest, but even he's seasoned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just makes me think about my chapter, because I dedicated my chapter to him and our dynamic and our brotherhood, or lack thereof, that I felt was missing, a lot of the time of our, growing up and things like childhood. I'm just like, wow, there's so much I can learn from him. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad that he's in the space of feeling comfortable with sharing his life experiences. And it was just, it was bittersweet. Hearing his story, and his like perspective, his trials and tribulations. You know what I mean? It's my brother. Yeah, I knew him all my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. But just hearing certain things,
it just goes to show that someone who is so close to you, you may think you know, but you don't know. You know what I mean? And like doubling off with that. What's wrong? It's okay.
This is why, like, what my mom did was just so amazing. So amazing. And I was trying to hold back, because I'm still feeling the effects of this experience.
Absolutely.
And I swear I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything, but just hearing, because I found myself looking at my brother while we were there and just being like, hey, you okay? You good? You all right? Because my brother, he is very introverted.
Yeah.
He's very
He doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve.
You say what?
He doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. He's got something covering that sleeve up.
Yeah, because I don't think he trusts everyone. Like, you know what I mean? But I just was, the eyes can tell a million stories.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I'm just so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. You know? Yeah, just very proud of him. And the other gents, the other authors, I can't wait to read their stories.
Me too.
It was very captivating. Just again, just the conversations we were having. Yeah, it was just awesome. I mean, I'm still processing it. I don't have many words to, but it's just like one of those things where you just had to be there.
Absolutely.
You just really had to be in that room. Yeah.
The setup of the actual book launch itself, throughout the evening, well, I guess it was daytime, but throughout the event, each author kind of gave like a synopsis of like what to expect in the chapter, whether it was what they've directly been through or just kind of like words of wisdom or whatever it is, you know, and they kind of went through each of their chapters.
You talking about the host?
No.
MC?
Each of the author went through their chapters.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And just like hearing what they had to say and knowing that like every single time someone said something, the reaction of people within the audience, you could tell they could like relate to one or many of the stories.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that like in these situations, even if you personally don't feel like you have enough of a like so-called like dramatic or eventful story to tell, like you're gonna like hit more people than you think. Like for example, yours was purely just about your brother, right?
Can I add to that
Absolutely.
point you just said?
Yeah.
Because it just, and I'm not going to say names here, but when you just said, basically, you never know what your story is going to do for someone else, regardless if you may think you don't have
It's
much of a
worthy or
story
not.
to tell.
Yeah.
Someone said to my mom that you live a quote unquote boring life. And in other words, what they were saying was, you don't really have, how I interpreted it when I heard it was like you don't really have much because you had a good boring life. You know what I mean? But it's just like, no, until that person tells what they've been through, tells what they've experienced, you don't know who it's going to touch. I wrote, like you just said, and you were going to continue to say, I dedicated to my brother, and I wrote about my brother and our, relationship. And I swear, I was just expecting to at least resonate with one person. I was just hoping that one person resonated, with my chapter. And when we were doing the book signing,
so many people,
there were both men and women coming.
Who could relate to it with just like sibling in general.
And I was just like,
I mean, even
whoa.
the MC, there was a moment, I think your brother had spoken, which was quite emotional.
Yeah.
Because, he has been through a lot, and obviously we're not going to bring that out to the world. But then you spoke. And obviously, because both of you were going back to back, when you guys left, you guys had like a little, like, a moment hugging. And the MC just like choked up so much because he did mention that he could relate, and seeing that and seeing the connection, seeing the bond just was like so impactful. And all because you've just like opened the platform and allowed your story to be out there. And your story there's no dramatics. It's just like, it's just a simple, like, it's a reflection of time that you've needed healing from. And you're here to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, and the process was so therapeutic. I remember calling my mom, like, just
breaking down.
Oh my gosh, like crying,
like
sobbing. You know?
Do you want to go into like the ins and outs of the chapter? Is that a little much, or are you ready to do that vocally, or is it like read my chapter? And
I think just you gotta bear with me because I
don't know if we want to make it an emotional episode, but I mean the weekend was quite emotional.
For sure, definitely. Weekend was emotional.
Because if they don't get to read the book, then they can at least hear it from you.
Growing up, like I said.
How about you start with what the title of your chapter is
called? The title of my story, thank you, baby.
Yeah.
It's called I Am Haunted. And the premise was I was haunted by my brother's the younger version of my brother. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what age he was, but I just know he was around like between like 6 and 9. Mm-hmm. Weird numbers, but 6 and 9. And I would always have dreams about him. Like his younger version would show up in my dreams, and it would be like he was kind of calling for me, mm-hmm. like or reaching out for help or asking me, like, kind of just like, why did you treat me the way that you treated me? Why weren't you ever there? Like, I needed you, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it would be random, babe. Like, it really hit me in college.
Interesting.
And these images and these dreams and these...
Do you think that's because once college came around, it was clear that you weren't in his presence as much, maybe?
I think so. Mm-hmm. I think so. And this is why I love acting. Like, I'm so glad acting came into my life when it did. Mm-hmm. But when I got to college, and I'm so glad I had the college experience, my professors were teaching us how to tap into certain emotions
from previous experience
and pull from, you know what I mean? So I didn't know that that's what I was pulling. So when I was reaching down there and pulling it, this is what I was coming out with, like, oh snap, I've been going my whole life feeling guilty, Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Shit.
It's okay.
Is this a therapy session?
Well, they do say podcasts like a therapy.
Oh my God.
It's okay. Take your time.
Yeah. Can I get a towel?
Yeah. All right, we're back. He's got some paper towel to catch the tears.
Sorry, y'all. What was the question that?
You were talking about how you were pulling from somewhere deep that you didn't know existed from acting classes.
So the source material I was pulling down and then didn't know I was coming out with the guilt that I didn't know I was feeling all this time. And, so I would just be in my dorm room by myself, just thinking like, oh my God, I did all this stuff. I said all this stuff to my brother. I shunned him. Like, I didn't want him wearing my clothes. Like, my brother would wear my shoes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? He would wear, a shirt of mine, and I used to hate it. I'm like, why are you wearing my things? Like, why are you wearing my things? Take my things off. I put in the book, I said, I would rather him be barefoot than to wear my shoes. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Little do you know, like as a kid, like they're just doing it because they're looking up to you.
Exactly. I remember, because, freshman year, I think like maybe second semester or something like that, the families would come up and they would like family
little
weekend.
check-in, make sure everything's good.
Yeah. So my mom, my brother, my grandmother, my sister came up, and Price was like, when I left to go to college, he was only a junior in high school. Mm-hmm. He was taller than me. Mm-hmm. He was playing sports, so he had some muscle, but when he visited a couple years after, and I'm in college, he was towering over me. I mean, he was a big guy, and I'm just like, where did this?
The growth spurt was crazy.
I didn't see him grow. I'm not there to see him grow up. Mm-hmm. So I'm losing time. I'm missing time. You know what I mean? There's a time gap. And yeah, it just was all hitting me. It was just all hitting me. And I remember I got drunk one night, called my brother, just
As you do.
yeah, and just saying I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But that I didn't know that wasn't going to fix anything at that time.
Because at that time he probably also hadn't processed or wanted to like think that anything could be wrong.
Exactly. So fast forwarding, you know what I mean. Yeah. So that was of the book. I like I said, there's a lot of things I put in my childhood, and then certain things I put when I left for college, and our dynamic then. But yeah, I just yeah. There's a saying, biblical saying, I am my brother's keeper. And that's something I kept going back to because I realized how much I didn't follow that purpose. I was jealous of different brother bonds that I saw. Like I had cousins who were brothers and their bond was so strong. I had friends who had brothers, and I was just like, why isn't that my life? Why is my life so different? You know what I mean? Why am I always trying to separate myself from my brother,
disconnected,
and find brotherhood in every other person?
Right.
I could, so it I think a lot of it too was just me realizing that I was kind of forced to grow up a lot faster at a young age, and that had a lot to do with my resentment in relationship with my brother. I was trying to be his parent than his brother.
Right.
I was trying to be his coach than his teammate. So yeah, but I'm so glad, so thankful that my brother has vocally said he's forgiven me.
Yeah.
That he says, he totally understands how things may have been difficult.
Yeah.
But
not to give you like excuse or like anything, because we were just kids. Like, not we. You were just a kid. You know what I mean? And I think over time you gain that maturity, you gain that like life knowledge of like reflection and realizing that in that moment maybe that wasn't what I should have been doing, but when I was that young, that was everything. Like you don't know like how irrelevant those sort of acts, like for example the borrowing of the clothes, how irrelevant those acts were. I mean, me and my older sister, we would always be at it. I would always want to wear her clothes, and she would get so mad because I would just go in there, pick it up. She's like, is that my shirt? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, stop going in my room. You know what I mean? So it's like it's just the dynamic that happens. But when you're young, it's like this is just what you fight about,
but and not to
lessen.
No,
yeah, ours was very surface level.
Well, I don't want to. I want to take accountability for
right,
because it was even deeper than just that. It was,
absolutely.
Me not even knowing how or what it meant to love my brother. You know what I'm saying? I knew how to love my sister. And that's the effed up part. I didn't know how to. I didn't want to touch. Like I didn't want to, and that's how deep it was. It's just I was at a point where I was just looking at him as like
a nuisance almost.
A nuisance, and just get away from me. You know what I mean? And I hope that's not hurtful as he hears it now.
No,
but like that's just
because that's not a now thing.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's not the reality now. Yeah. And I think knowing that you've gone through this reflection and you've been able to verbalize this like pen to paper, like literally, for everyone to tap into that vulnerability is it shows a lot of your character in you being able to admit it. I don't know if that sounds a little dramatic.
But acknowledge it.
Acknowledge,
and I did read my brother's chapter, and it was like, oh man, like I didn't know he was going through what he was going through.
Yeah.
And it's funny how both our stories were kind of happening simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm like glad I got to see it from his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I know they say don't harp on the past, you know, it's about what you do now. And
Absolutely.
you know, so
but I think I don't, I respect that saying, but I do feel like if you don't, like, there still needs to be learning lessons from the past.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
if it's like your every waking day, you're harping on it, it's stopping you from continuing, growing, everything like that. Sure.
Yeah.
But like harp on the past in the sense of like, if something needs to be reflected or acknowledged or growth needs to come from it, then do that. Don't just like push it under a rug.
Yeah.
I mean, I should probably take this advice for myself because I push a lot of things under the rug and thinking life is still lifing and I'll keep moving on and the days are fine.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you do really need to reflect and like think about those like moments of trauma or like moments of emotional distraught that you go through.
Yeah.
Even if they felt so minuscule, sometimes they do really shape how you handle the rest of your life and how you approach conflict and how you approach your motivation.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like, I do think, I mean, that's why therapy exists.
Yeah,
that's why
that's true.
it's like, it's so important to really like tackle down. And the first thing they do is go back to your childhood and what you've been through, because 90% of the time, 95% probably, that is the main source and the main reason of how you've become as a human. Because they say the first, I might butcher this, but there's a certain number of you're a sponge as a child. Like everything from those first developmental years.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, my tongue got stuck. You're a sponge.
Yeah.
Everything you hear, everything you do, everything your parents do, everything your parents say, like put you through.
Yeah.
You're a sponge. You're absorbing it all and it stays with you for life.
Yeah.
And if you don't like open up and like invite it to like make you grow, then just keeps getting pushed under the rug. Keeps getting pushed under the rug.
No, for sure.
So I'm really proud of you,
thank you.
tapping into that and talking about it and feeling comfortable to put out in the world.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could. I don't think I'm there yet. I'm in the headspace of, oh, what, my story? No, I don't have a story.
Oh, wow, baby.
Yeah.
Well, I know you'll get there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not. But we'll see.
I always think it's possible.
Yeah.
I always think it's possible. I always was under the mindset that like it's no one's business. Like my story is no one's business. But it's not about it being someone's business. Like this whole process was for our healing. You know what I mean? For our, it was more for self. It's not about anybody.
Yeah.
But through that, it can help somebody, you know?
I think it's, if you go in the approach of being like, oh, I'm going to do this to help others, sometimes the way you go about it might be viewed a little selfish.
Yeah.
But if you do it with, this is just a very vulnerable me, it's more a case of people being like, oh my gosh, I don't think you understand how much you've helped me. You know what I mean? And it becomes a little bit more selfless by doing it that way.
That was the most rewarding thing.
Really?
Too. Was.
Do you feel like your like weight is lifted off your shoulders from having it officially published?
Yeah. Well, it was
just writing it in general.
It was lifted once I completed. You know what I mean? It was lifted. You know what I'm saying?
Once the publisher went through your edits. Publisher went through the edits? What's
the publisher? Yeah.
Oh yeah, went through the edits.
It was lifted when I got it out because it had just been cooped up for so long, and man, yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for my mother just saying, "Hey, I want to now shift this to the man's world," you know what I mean, and man, she's such an advocate for men as well. Like, and that's what I admire about her. Mm-hmm. She's an advocate for women, but she's an advocate for men. Mm-hmm. You know,
yeah,
so
you can really see it's like her passion to provide a platform for everyone to speak their truth.
Yeah.
And to be heard, because, you know, sometimes people aren't able to. So being able to create this really easy ability to, you know, write your story in a chapter is amazing. Yeah. And all these women, I correct me if I'm wrong, but every single time the chapters, they're different people. Some have written more than one, but they're all these different women. And there's about, 10 authors per?
I mean, there was different women that were coming up and saying, hey, I was a part of this volume. Or, I was like, oh, snap. And it's women I didn't recognize, you know what I mean? So it's so dope that, like,
the tree is growing of how many people have been. Yeah.
And it's, you know, I just, it was so awesome. It was so awesome.
Nothing to fault.
No, nothing at all. And, you know,
except I was kicking myself. I somehow have come into the job of always doing the little slideshow of like everyone's pictures to let them know, to announce the authors, which I love doing.
Oh, yeah.
So before everyone comes into the ballroom, I, you know, do a little quick sound check, do a video check, everything's running smoothly. But I had one job. And I was kicking myself because there was a big speaker that was connected to my laptop. And because it was sitting there for so long not doing anything, the speaker turned off, which meant it disconnected from the Bluetooth. So when your mum gave the, like, hit it kind of thing, press play on the video, audio was coming through my laptop and nobody could hear it.
Oh, no.
You were far in the line, so you probably... Did I even tell you this?
Nah.
Oh, yeah. I was
so whose music didn't get... Well, it wasn't... It was just the audio wasn't being played.
The audio was playing through my laptop because the speaker had automatically turned off. And I was like, what the heck? So I'm like, mind you, this table's in the middle of the floor.
Is everyone staring at you?
Well, I'm like crouched down, like moving around really quickly. Everyone's clapping because he's still, the first person's still walking on. So chances are not many people will see me, but I'm freaking out. So I quickly turn on the speaker, reconnect it through Bluetooth, and then it like starts playing again. And I was like, Georgia, you had one job and you messed up.
Nah, it's all good. It wasn't your fault. You didn't know the speakers were
I timed the music so perfectly with the picture change.
Facts. Word you did. You're a great editor. Yeah. You're is it digital or media or whatever? You're good with like media stuff. Yeah. And digital things.
Hence why I edit the podcast.
Facts. No, that's a fact. That's a fact.
But yeah.
One thing I realized too, because my mom is just a legendary event planner. Her and I are the exact same when it comes to like organizing things. When you are put in charge of something, she's in charge. I just happen to be put in charge sometimes. She is all game face. Some of it is stress because she's just, you know, trying to hit every point. I had to pull her aside. I'm like, Mom, I know this. That's me too, but you got this. Yeah. You're doing a heck of a job. Yes. You got it. Like, you know what I mean? But also I knew when not to speak to her.
Oh, absolutely.
When I came into the venue.
Oh, yeah.
She was at the front desk. I promise you, and Mom, you're probably going to disagree. You had a game face on so much.
She was in fixing mode. She had a mission. Don't
But that's my mom.
No, I know, but
I came up, I was like, hey, Mom, I'm here. She was like, hey.
Yeah,
son.
no, she was.
I was like,
she had things to do. When you are like the main coordinator of an event like that, right? Everyone's like, hey, this. So it's like you may be in the middle of something and then someone asks a question that pulls you a different direction. And what they want to know, yes, 100% needs an answer now, but at the same time, you don't know she's just received 3 other questions of something else. Facts. So even when I was in the main ballroom setting everything up, I think 2 people walked in, grabbing her attention, and they were like, Patty. And she's like, 1 second. It was just like, you knew that it was just like, hey, we're doing something. We'll be just 1 second. We'll come out. And it was just so funny because at the end of the day, they needed the answer too. But it's just like she's been running, she's ripping and rolling everywhere. And
right.
We've got about 10 minutes before everyone walks in here.
Yeah. I don't think people understand how much goes into, like how much my mom does for these types of events.
And everything is planned out to the T.
Facts.
And it's like that for a reason, so it goes smoothly. So if something goes skew even if it's so little, that smoothness starts to have bumps.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of that, like, intense planning. Sometimes it might feel a little rigid, but it's like that for a reason. I mean, any wedding planner, they go through a very strict timeline, a very strict, this is what we're doing, this is what happens at this time. You do this, you do that, like, and it happens for a reason. It's not just everyone show up and hope for the best.
That's a fact. And she's investing a lot of money into the success of this program and thing too. So,
and it's not just about the guests in this situation. It's about ensuring that the authors are provided a platform to celebrate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not for the guests, it's for the authors to show what they've accomplished.
Yeah.
But all that to say, every single day we were in bed by like 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
I was mentally exhausted because it was an emotional weekend. But it was a successful one. And a lot of people are reaching out to you for a book.
Yeah.
Which is super exciting. So if you're a friend, family, stranger watching us and you want to get this book, there's about 10 authors telling their stories, super powerful. The book is titled
Hold the Line. Men's edition. The men is an acronym for masculine, eloquent, and noble.
So reach out to us on our platform. We'll connect with you and we can get a book sent your way.
Before we get out of here, was there anything else during the weekend, eventful weekend that you want to?
The fact that I met your ex-girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
That was an episode.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't bad, obviously, but it was just like funny because I've heard about her. Yeah. I've heard stories. Nothing necessarily bad.
Right,
I don't think, from memory.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I didn't tell you stories.
But I've never been in a situation where I've met my significant other's ex-person before. Yeah. So obviously this is from high school. So, I'm chill. I don't really care. Yeah. But, it's just a little, I'm meeting them kind of thing. So, we introduced ourselves, said hello, kept it very cordial, but it was just a moment of, you dated her. And now I'm his wife. It was funny. I think also at the time, because she is still friends with Toby, who's your best friend, it was obviously natural for her to come up and say hello. But I knew dang on well she knew who I was and I knew who she was. But we kept it cordial and it was fine. And, I don't know if it was a fake fine, but for me it felt just normal.
Yeah. I knew you were going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't worried at all. I just, I knew she was going to be there prior to. But I also didn't think like there was going to be any drama or me feeling uncomfortable.
Right.
I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Yeah. There's no reason for me to feel uncomfortable. Like, you've never given me a reason to, nor do I think there needs to be a reason to feel uncomfortable.
No, not really.
You've always been honest, open. Yeah. I mean, I know the history, so unless you've lied to me about the history. No, I'm joking. So secret romance still going on. And it was all exposed, and that's why she really was there.
I'm not even going to joke about that.
No.
That's not even.
But yeah, no, it was fine. It was just it was a first experience for me to experience something like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, really quick, it was 10 years since, I've seen her like in person. So that's
it's a lifetime.
Quote unquote culture shock, because like I haven't seen this person since we were kids. Yeah. So I mean that's a whole nother thing you process in real time. Like, you know what I mean? You try to identify, like, does this person look the same? You know what I mean? But it was pretty chill, honestly.
It was right near the end of it, so we were all like kind of closing up shop by that point. But yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it's
fun to like. It was fun to officially put a name. I mean, face to a name properly. Like, I've seen a photo, but like an actual human being.
Yeah. And there you have it, folks.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Obviously, this episode was quite emotional.
Yeah.
But I thought it was important to kind of get into the story a little bit for you, because people have said that the book and the chapters help them. So surely we can help some others.
Definitely.
Just reflect.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sorry.
No, no. And that's what I said at the book launch. I, made it known to just kind of express how much I appreciate you creating a safe space for me as a man
to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's important. Ladies, let your men be vulnerable. Let them cry. Come on.
We love that.
Cry.
Cry.
Tears are healthy.
Cry to me.
Literally, though. All right.
All
Thank
right,
you
guys.
so much.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.